Welcome back. You're watching Today here on eNCA. It's 15 minutes after 4. My name is William, last name Lahong. Thabo Mbeki's criticism of President Cyril Ramaphosa's Phala farm scandal is too late to save the ANC. That is the view of political analyst Professor Sipho Seepe, who says while the former president's letter is constructive, the ANC is too far down the line of destruction, especially under Ramaphosa's leadership. For more on this, Seepe joins us now on Zoom. A warm welcome to you, Ndate Sipho. Let's talk about is it really too late? How would you categorize that?
First, there are indications in society that the ANC is on a downward spiral. You just have to look at almost every poll that indicates that the ANC would be likely to get up to 45%. Most of the indications are it to be downwards. We've also seen parties also taking advantage of the weaknesses within the ANC in terms of its political morality, but also its failures in government. And the president seems to have failed almost every promise that he had actually made. And if he's going to be the face of the ANC, then there is an issue of trouble that is awaiting the ANC. But what Mbeki, the former President Mbeki, is trying to point out is that if the ANC continues on this path, then surely it is playing into the hands of the opposition. And one must also indicate that this is not the first time that the former president had actually come in criticizing Ramaphosa. Initially, there was a sense of comradeship. But since Ramaphosa had failed on a number of issues or promises that he had made, Mbeki, who had spent all his adult life in the ANC and as a former president, felt it is necessary for him to raise these issues. And also these issues, because they are not only raised by society, but they're also members of the ANC themselves are not coming to the fore. So all he was doing was also castigating members of the ANC that they need to play their part. That yes, it is important to rally behind the leader, but Mbeki pointed out that we are in a constitutional democracy where defending and protecting the leader at all costs is itself counter-revolutionary. He may not have used those words. He actually left it to the readers of his letter to say, if we behave like this behavior is a counter-revolutionary, and went on to indicate what has actually come from the courts. The courts have been very clear about that where there might be a conflict between the party interest and the national interest, members of parliament are duty-bound through the oath of office that they took and the oath that they took, that they will put the country first. In a sense, what Mbeki was trying to do is to remind members of the ANC that the ANC is a vehicle that serves the people, and the people must come first.
Was he perhaps trying to paint a good picture on his own legacy? And in the same breath, you, in your article, touch on if this had happened under Jacob Zuma and his administration, what would that picture have looked like?
Well, I mean, I deliberately quoted Justice Malala, who had also pointed out that under Ramaphosa, the organizations that were known to be calling for accountability, organizations like the Right to Know, would have been in the forefront. They would have been in the forefront to know something about the CR17. Suddenly they have disappeared. We had the marches by foundations in this country, the self-appointed crusaders of accountability. And suddenly we don't see them anymore. And what Malala was saying is that Ramaphosa is lucky in a sense that he seems to be given almost a way out, that there is no accountability under his presidency. Now you have here something much more serious, and you must contrast it with the manner in which the state institutions have been more keen to find fault with other people. You have a panel that has been appointed by a parliament that comprises the former Chief Justice and a retired judge. These are people who are very serious. and who are given evidence and information, and they come to a determination that based on their expertise as judges who had to deal with issues of truth, evidence, and also the law, they've come to a determination that they think the president has a case to answer. And the President Mbeki says, when you have a panel comprising of these eminent people and with their experience, you can't just ignore it. But he goes further. He says, are the members of the ANC suggesting that given that there are these questions about the presidents in terms of wrongdoing, are they blocking this because they are trying to tell South Africans that there's something untoward or there's something that the president has to hide? So he's very pointed in his criticism, but it also goes back to remind us about what the courts have said, that the members take an oath when they go into parliament, and the courts have ruled on this matter that you put the country first. And he feels that the ANC's behavior undermines the legacy of the ANC and undermines all its achievements. And this is the basic message that he was giving. And he was also trying to say, this is not a matter that will be resolved only by a discussion between him and the ANC. This is a national matter, and the ANC better wakes up and deal with it, that the Phala is not going to go away.
And of course, we saw the Secretary General jumping in very quickly there, saying perhaps the internal squabbles should not be laid to bear for all to see. But could he then have sent this particular letter and addressed the president himself and not sent it to Paul Mashatile?
Well, what he knows is that in the end, this matter is of national importance. That's the message that I was trying to say, that it is the issue of constitutional democracy. It's about the country. It's not about an individual. And secondly, the president is also somebody who is conflicted. And he has always indicated that when he is conflicted, he would rather be absent so that the fingers don't point into his direction. So the person who does not appear directly conflicted in this matter is Paul Mashatile, on whether the president has a case to answer on, or whether members of the ANC are behaving in a manner that is consistent with what the ANC stands for and what the Constitution demands of them.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Professor and political analyst Sipho Seepe here on Today.